This is Surviving Survivor.
Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans is over, and we, the fans, are here to talk about our thoughts and opinions on the finale. Welcome back to Surviving Survivor. I am Jack Freiser, joined alongside my incredible co-hosts Abby Tarpey and Emily McGlynn. Oh yeah, and
don't forget it.
We got a lot to get into. We got our opinions on the finale, as well as the results to our draft and our final memes of the week. And we'll also discuss a little bit about season 51 and the open era and our thoughts and opinions on what that means. Yeah, let's dive right into it. So firstly, we get the final five after Sari has been voted out. R.I.P. to the legend. But it's okay. She gets her flowers this week, luckily.
A lot.
And it was pretty cut and dry. Everybody said, we want Tiffany out. We don't think we will beat her at the end. She is a challenge threat. She is a jury threat. We need to get her out. And she lost immunity, and they got her out. There was pretty much nothing she could do. She was dead to rights the second she lost that challenge, and by one puzzle piece too. Oh my god, I felt so bad. And then Jonathan, on the other hand, felt great doing the worm and all.
That was insane. I don't think people online are talking about that enough. Well, that's because has said some things to cloud that moment, but that was nuts.
Yeah. He threw up and then did the worm in the same challenge. So he was going through it, but he pulled it out. And Tiffany became the 9th member of our jury. And right after that, we go right into another challenge where we get some motion. My favorite Survivor challenge of all time. I love it so much. And we got the first win of the season for Mrs. Aubrey Bracco when she really needed it. I will say right now, good on her for pulling through when she needed it. If she had not won, she was 100% going into fire. That being said, we have seen her win fire in the past, and I think it could have been a really good jury move for her if she had won fire. But just winning it and not having to take the risk and guaranteeing her spot at the end was really awesome. It was a good move, and I loved that she was able to beat the Joes and Jonathans, who were the big challenge threats of this season.
Are you guys shocked that Tiffany didn't try harder to try and keep herself in the game? Like, convince the others that this certain person, or do you think she was, right in kind of being like, well, it is what it is, and I'm just gonna say what I gotta say, and then I'll head out?
I think it was fair because I'm sure she probably tried to an extent that we weren't seeing, and they've made very clear for so long, because it's been, I think, 2 to 3 tribals now that they've made it obvious they've wanted her out, and she's kind of on their hit list, so to speak. So how are you going to go against an alliance that's very clearly going to vote you out at a point where you have no advantage, no allies, and no immunity? There's nothing that you can really do now that the shot in the dark has ended. So while I'm sure she might have tried and she was putting her best foot forward in kind of the way Devon's felt pre Mr. Beast appearing and being able to give him an idol, I don't think she had many choices, so she was just using her screen time and her last moments on the island while she had them.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I agree with Abby. I don't think... I'm sure she did try. We don't see everything, obviously, and I think it would have been boring for an edit standpoint of seeing her try for so long when there's so much left, and it was very clearly not going to work. But I think when you get so far, it's a lot harder to have a big strategy conversations because everyone in their head already has their ideas of who they want to be in the final 3 with. And I truly don't think any of them wanted to be in the end with her. And I think that's fair. I don't know if she necessarily played the best game, most showy game. But I think she absolutely beats all of them at the end, with the exception of maybe Aubrey. I think it could be a little closer with her and Aubrey. But I think it's hard to explain why Aubrey is going to beat you in the end to these people who already have this idea that they're not beating you. And also, I think especially Jonathan knew he's not beating either of them. Like, let's be real. I think that both girls were going to whip any of their asses in the end. And so I think another part of that was Jonathan and Joe have already lost to Tiffany a few times, and they view Tiffany as more of a challenge threat of somebody who could win. So it ended up not working out for them as Aubrey was able to get that win. But I think in their mind, it was a lot safer to just get rid of the comp threat, who is a jury favorite, and we don't need to worry about it anymore. And she was
Let's
salty.
Oh, very salty, and it made for a
Rightfully
great
so, though,
movie.
because as she said in Exit Press, um, she had a conversation with Jonathan where he pretty much said he doesn't want to lose to a girl, and he didn't want to be in the end with her because of that.
Anyway, let's talk about um I guess now that we're on the subject of Jonathan, he was forced to go to fire with Rizzo. And this was a crazy part of the episode for two different reasons. One, Rizzo, I believe, is the first person to go to fire back to back seasons and lose. And that's why I loved the episode name of the finale, is because, like, yeah, you either you redeem yourself or you don't, and that's just kind of how it went. And then on top of that, I love live television. The three of us were supposed to be there, but life's tough. We'll get over it. Apparently, it seems like the live reunions are going to be coming back, so there'll be another chance for us to go. I was watching that, and I was like, wow. And I'm a producer, so I understand this. I was like, wow, someone's about to get fired. I'm like, that's really bad. Lo and behold, Jeff does Exit Press a day later, the day that we're recording this podcast, so this morning, and he says the producers didn't mess up, the directors didn't mess up, no one messed up. I messed up. And he took accountability for that. And I thought that was so awesome. I was so confused at first. I was like, does he understand what he's saying? Does he understand like where we're at? But Jeff spoiled that Rizzo lost in fire. But I think how he picked himself back up was genius. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was a great way to keep it moving. And he even like kept joking about it later on, like throughout the reunion. So I don't know if you guys had any thoughts on that moment or on Rizzo's, sad departure, but I just thought that was probably the best part of the episode, to be honest.
It will definitely be memorable, and I think he did handle it in a really good manner. I think he's being nice by saying it's his fault. I think that the structure of whatever producer or anyone decided to have Rizzo be brought out before they show the fire was not a smart decision. So yeah, it may have been Jeff's fault for saying, all right, now you joined the jury, you're out. But I do think you just wait until that part is aired to bring Rizzo out, or else you're like, why is Rizzo coming out right now? So I liked the sentiment of what he said. I do still think somebody is getting in trouble. But it was very memorable, and I liked the whole Reverse the Curse title with this fire because both of them had lost to fire in their seasons. So I think it was an interesting way of showing no matter what, somebody's going to get their redemption moment and the other person's going to fail the exact same way they did last time. And they'll be the first person in US Survivor to lose twice to fire. Suri has lost more. Sadly, Suri has lost twice as well, but one of those times was in her Australia season. So, and yeah, Rizzo coming back to back, playing very similar games and losing the exact same way is kind of, it's really rough. It's interesting, I think, as a viewer to watch somebody play this game. And I think he played a lot better. I think he was a lot more social and maneuvering around without just sticking to one side. But I also think he wasn't playing the bottom this time around. But he did the same things of keeping an idol till the end to guarantee him to the final four. And what did that do? It guaranteed him to fire, and he lost in fire. I do like seeing Joe, his human side, and try to help Rizzo. But at the end of the day, Rizzo is not a fire maker, and it was always going to end up with him going home.
I also think that while it's very unfortunate, Rizzo is probably the most professional person in the situation of he didn't understand why he was going but went with it, tried to make it work, and then when it didn't work, like followed through with it well, which is a good representation of him because it's good that it's memorable and he like made history in a way. It's unfortunate that it's at the first live show back in years and that it's not a positive thing because they're taking away this like Rizzo's biggest moment of the season is him going home right before he thinks he can win. So that had its pros and its cons, and I was shocked that Survivor wasn't on a couple minute delay for them to immediately remedy that. And while we will never actually know what happened, in the sense of did a commercial get moved and so they switched the bits, like how would you make the mistake of bringing Rizzo out immediately before? Because the conversation makes no sense. There's nothing to say to him that you wouldn't also bring Jonathan out for, or you would just wait to bring him out after the break. So I'm curious what happened, but we'll never actually know, which is sad. But I agree with you, Emily. It was definitely the most interesting part of the episode.
What's also funny about this episode title, Reversing the Curse, this also applies to the winner of Survivor 50, Aubrey. She has played 4 times, people. She has played almost half a year of Survivor being on the island, which is such a crazy stat to brag about. I think Sari is like almost like half a year, which is even crazier. But she completely demolished this out of the water. And I kind of want to talk more about the jury deliberation because I definitely would think this is the most entertaining jury questionnaire that we've had in the last 5 years, because not only were the players, the final 3, arguing with one another, but the jury was arguing with one another about what questions can be asked, what opinions can be said. Oh, you didn't answer their question. You need to answer their question. Like, this was like, they meant business, and I loved that. So I didn't know if you guys had any like outstanding thoughts about that. I know I have some, but I wanted to hand it over to you guys first.
Yeah, I do think it was an enjoyable final travel. I think a lot of people did have their minds made up, and you can see that by the way they asked their questions. And so I think that's where a lot of arguments came. Is some people were like, guys, we have to include Joe. Some people were like, hey, word this as a question, or but I do think they truly wanted to get information that maybe they wouldn't have been privy to. But I think at the end of the day, it was kind of cut and dry, all 3 of their games, what they did. Nobody had any really big reveals that, like, I think changed the game. I also just think that Aubrey had a great story and spoke in a very eloquent manner where she was able to explain what she did in a way that came off as strategic. And so even when she was being confronted of, did you ever keep any secrets? She's like, no, but that was my game. I didn't go around telling everyone secrets just to tell everyone secret, but if your information would help me move forward, I was going to use it for my benefit. And the way she was able to lay out her game and prove to most of them that it wasn't passive, because even Chrissy was like, that laying back, sitting there, playing the middle can come off as passive. Why should we respect that? I even think that she gave a great answer to that as well of, well, sometimes passive gameplay is what you need to do. And it's not passive if I am still thinking about what I want to do and just giving off the part of my strategy was giving off this persona that I was just kind of there and didn't have any big ideas or big moves, when in reality I was thinking and doing things to make myself benefit in the end. And so she killed it. She brought two people that she instantly knew she was going to beat. She got rid of all of the big threats right before the finale, which is what she didn't do last time. And she pulled a Michelle and was the one that was actually the jury fave going into it. And I was impressed by her. I think she did a great job.
I think all three of them had great points to prove to the jury. I liked what Jeff said this morning on CBS Mornings, where he kind of gave Joe his flowers by saying, yes, everyone had the Jotation and they had to run the vote past you, but that's how you know that your position in the game is important. And you are maneuvering this game in the way that you want it to go for your best interest or for other people. We saw that with Suri a lot, but I think we should also put the same significance that Suri has of like guiding a vote also with Joe. I don't know how that happened or why that happened with him, but I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, I do want to bring up my controversial opinion because I said I had one, and here it is. Am I happy that Aubrey won? 100%. I'm so happy for her because I think she's earned it, but she deserved it. I wish that her edit was a lot better this season because I feel like I would have been more enthusiastic about her win. With that being said, I do kind of see that Jonathan should have won just because if you look at the three pillars of Survivor, you outwit, you outlast, and you outplay. Yes, he won 3 immunities. Okay. You outlast, yeah, your name wasn't written down the entire time up until your final 3 when you're trying to win the $2 million. And then he outwitted, he led a lot of votes, and he got Stephanie to be the front man of it all. She took the fall for it, and he just kept coasting throughout the post-merge. So I don't know. Now with that being said too, I want to point out what Abby said very intelligently a couple weeks ago, which was the edit became not why Aubrey won, but why Jonathan lost. And that's why I'm also upset too, of like, I wish we saw more of Aubrey before because maybe I would have been more enthusiastic and passionate about her win because I wanted to see more of that. But to her point of what she said to the jury, I made moves and I was powerful at times when I needed to be. And that's why I am the sole survivor. So that's my overarching thoughts.
I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with what you're saying. I think firstly, and I've already gone on my rant, so I'm not going to bring this up again, but screw this edit. The edit sucked. Bad edit. Made this season a lot worse than it could have been, and that's all on the edit's fault. But I think Aubrey was playing the game, but such an important part of the game is that social aspect of having friends at the end and not screwing people over. And I think Jonathan didn't do jury management well. And I think that he was also a strategic force in a way that people were talking to him, but like not really respecting his opinions. But even when Joe, definitely he shouldn't have said it, but it proved Aubrey's social game when the Aussie vote happened. And Jonathan in his head was like, well, that was already my plan. That was my vote. And Aubrey said, well, who was the person who actually convinced Joe to flip and made this vote happen? And Joe said, well, it was Aubrey. So that I think showed that Jonathan didn't really have that social awareness. And while he may have been a lot more strategic than his first season, I'll give him that. I think some of his strategy was a little off base. And I think the way he treated some people was also really off base. Like telling Tiffany right before she gets voted off that I'm voting you out because you're a woman is horrible jury management. If you say that to somebody, they're never voting you at the end. And so I can
Why
only
didn't the producers
imagine,
put that on TV?
yeah, I can
Put
only imagine
that on.
what other stuff what he said to people that may have rubbed them the wrong way. And that is a lot of the game. And somebody like Aubrey, who this is their fourth time playing, it's impressive to be able to say, I've made it to the end once. I almost made it to the end a second time. This is my fourth time playing the game, and you're letting me get to the end. This is the game I played, and this is what I've learned from my past experiences. I think is a lot more compelling to a jury. So I do think of that final three, Aubrey, I would have voted Aubrey. I also agree that Aubrey didn't play my favorite game I've ever seen. And I think that there were a lot of players who are mid to early jury boots that I probably would have wanted to see win more. But in the end, if I had to vote, I would have voted Aubrey, and I think she deserved it out of the three.
One more thing about Jonathan, and this is not being pro, it's being against. Um, the CBS Mornings interview or whatever. So he talked about how he did his homework and he practiced and he, whatever. He interviewed past like players to try and figure out how to be strategic, how to be social. And I thought that was kind of crazy, but it worked. It worked. All right, Abby, your turn.
I I've I have strong but like lighthearted opinions about the debate of like who should have won because obviously it happens every season, but in a season like this where our final three is a third that no one is talking about and then two main people of it being ultimately between Aubrey and Jonathan, what I struggle with is I feel like while Jonathan has been stronger than he's ever been in a season and he overwhelmingly outdid my and I'm sure many people's expectations for him as a player, he is still in competition with other people. So while he might have been the strongest he has been or maybe could ever be within the realm of this game, his strongest might not be stronger than someone else's. And so that premise I feel like applies to a lot of people, especially in returning seasons where, for example, if Ozzy was also in the final three, Ozzy played an overwhelmingly amazing game. But my personal question, if I were to be on the jury, is how much of this was your decision and how much of this was Suri telling you what to do? And so with Jonathan, him and Aubrey kind of have inverse problems, in my opinion, where Aubrey wins because the jury can see what she has done as she played an independent, quiet game. Whereas Jonathan played a relationships based, louder, physically oriented game, which plays poorly to the jury and strong to the audience. So people are questioning if Aubrey should win or shitting on her for winning, where I feel like ultimately if you are given the win by the jury, you won Survivor, the audience has no say. And her game doesn't play well to a returner season in the sense that she is playing independently of other people and screwing over the characters that the audience likes. So as an editor, am I going to show Rick Devens and Christian hiding an idol and Ozzy and Coach having big fights in this like crazy dramatic old man battle? Or am I going to show Aubrey sitting and thinking about what will be a better move for her personally to get past these people? I'm going to pick the big dramatic players, but that ultimately cuts Aubrey out. And then, as we've talked about, and I believe Emily previously mentioned that I've said before, I think that it was showing how other people lose to Aubrey due to this nature rather than showing how Aubrey wins. Added onto the fact she's older and playing more seriously, so she isn't as happy-go-lucky, hee-hee-ha-ha in tone of how she's coming off, probably because she's also starving on an island. but that makes people immediately have a negative opinion of her that unequivocally frustrates me because she played a very smart game with the options that she had. And while she wasn't playing a loud game, I don't feel like loud players should be the only respected winners. And while Jonathan was strong, and I respect that people were asking him questions and considering them, he didn't have the wherewithal to back it up or the independence from the people that he worked with to clarify that it was his move and he deserved the win. So weakening her right to win because he's physically strong and we saw him yap a lot is really frustrating to me.
Yeah. So after that, we got the reunion, and we see that Miss Cerie Fields has won America's Favorite Player, and I could not be happier for her to take home that 100K.
Are
Because
we
not only
surprised?
no, yeah, no, I still voted for her though, happily. I'll say it. I wanted her to win, and not only did we get Cerie getting her 100K, we also had Survivor attempt to reverse the car curse. Yet another reversing of a curse of the show, where the winner of the show never wins the car. And they said, let's change that, and gave Aubrey a car as well. $2 million in a car, I feel like, is a pretty iconic win for anyone. And so for the 50th season, I think I was happy to see the winner take home such a glorious prize. But I do think it kind of sucks that they gave the winner the car instead of maybe somebody else in the jury or somebody else who played. But nonetheless, it was a very funny moment, I think, of Aubrey running to get the car.
That was it. That's a $2.1 million prize. It's just the $100,000 car. Like, it's just the bow on top. I thought it was funny that Jonathan online, like, post-press interviews were like, D was a bitter juror. No, dude, you were a bitter juror about loser about not getting the car. You're nuts. Take a chill pill. Be happy for this person that you spent almost a month on an island with.
Also, he's going just right back to that. I had a problem with him saying that too, because his reasoning for why she was bitter was that she played one day with Aubrey and she played like an entire beginning of the game with him. That's not how the jury ever works. Like, you vote for the best game that you see, and you're seeing the games while sitting on the bench and hearing people talk about the game when they get to Ponderosa. I don't think you're supposed to base your game off of the beginning 5 tribals, or not even tribals, 5 days where they went to tribal once, and she blindsided him. Like, she blindsided him, showing that he didn't know what was happening in the game, and then he went and screwed her over, getting out her ally, and then got her out. I don't think that's necessarily saying, hey, let me vote for you now. Yeah, with that is the end of Survivor 50. And just when one season ends, a new season begins. And we saw a very short sneak preview of the next season, the open era, Survivor 51. Whatever the heck that means, where, quote, all advantages and idols from past seasons are in play.
I don't know how I feel. Because the some of the twists in 50 were fun. Objectively, they were fun. Okay, well, in my opinion, they were fun. But to a certain point, they got annoying because it was like, okay, I still can't get over what happened last week. What's going on now? So I hope the producers are more liberal about it in 51. But who knows? They might still be on a high from 50 and they have sprinkled the same exact ones in 51. What is this called now? The
Open era?
Open era. What does that mean to you
I think
guys?
it means that it's all gameplay is open and everything can happen and
anything can
anything
happen.
can happen.
It's an open game.
Yeah.
What can you expect?
I don't like that they're trying to like label things now. Like I think it was such a fan thing to call, before 40 the old era.
Also, that's ridiculous. That I'm sorry, 40 seasons is old, and then 10 seasons is new, and
This is crazy.
it's like, okay, let's move on to open.
Open era?
No. But
It's also,
whatever.
I think it being open and it being anything can happen. I understand it does logically make more sense where it's like advantages galore and crazy things and twists. But I feel like you saying it's open insinuates like reborn, it's like restarting in a way, which would be so much better if they finally did what like many people have been quietly requesting of just going back to like truly season one, nothing, or like just an immunity idol, like whatever you expect isn't there and it's just gameplay. Because I think some of the best moments are the things you can't predict, like them messing up with Rizzo, or even the fact that we've spent way too much time talking about Jonathan and Cerise sitting on a hammock. Like that was funny. And the hammock falling. But they're like iconic moments of like lying about your dead grandmother has nothing to do with a twist or a strategy, or it's just funny human moments, and we're losing that.
How awesome would it be? Hey, Survivor producers, if you're listening, you can write me a check for this one. If this is now called like the open era, then how about 52 or something, where you claim that there's going to be all these twists and turns, but you don't include a single thing? I think that would be awesome because then everyone's going to be on edge at all times. And then maybe you do it at like final six or something. I think that would be fun. I think that would be genius.
I agree with that. I could see it being I always think that though, like a couple seasons from now, like that would have been sick for 50 to be like, we're going back to basics, and they didn't do that. So one day they will. We'll make them.
Overall, I had so much fun watching Survivor 50 and recapping with you guys every single week. I think there was never a dull moment, even when there were kind of the low key episodes that we had. Like there was so many storylines to follow, so many different twists that we got to comment on and everything. So Survivor definitely fed us this season, and they will continue to do so. But this was just so much fun. I had so much fun, and I'm already counting and waiting for the fall.
Yeah.
Well, in talking about this season, we do a draft every season.
Oh, yes.
And that draft has ended. So we have the official numbers on my notes app on my phone.
Okay.
So drum roll please for last place. It is a tie with 12 points. We have Emily McGlynn, who had Jenna, Colby, and Kyle, who got medevaced, and Miss Piper Nixon, who had Mike, Q, and Angelina. So we have first, second, and ninth, and fourth, third, and fifth. I will note that we on this podcast, and as the person that counts it, typically counts medevacs as the number they go out at. So like we have 2 number 2s and there's a maximum of 23 points. If we didn't, Emily would have lost by 2 points. But it's all basically the same thing. In third to last place, we have Ethan Berman with 23 points. The fall from grace. He had Genevieve, Christian, and Savannah.
Okay, so I'm top. Am I top 4 or top 3 then?
So in fourth place, we have Cameron Hightower.
Yes.
With 32 points. He rode the middle to the end with Charlie, Ozzy, and Dee. And then in fourth place.
What?
I said fourth, I meant fifth. We have Walker with 48 points, Sari, Tiffany, and Chrissy. And in our top 3, in third place, we have Sabrina with 49 points.
Wow, okay.
Oh, I did not expect to get second.
Riz God, Devins, and Coach. Separating third place and second place is 1 point, and separating second place and first place is 2 points. So in second place with 50.
No. Just go for the first place winner. Who won?
In first place, we
icon?
have me with 52.
Who's the icon? Abby Tarpey, after so many drafts, like 4.
Finally decided to try.
As one. And won! Yay!
It's like your winner pick has tried so many times. You finally did it. You got the job done.
Reverse the curse.
I reversed the curse, and this is also the first time that I tried to pick a personality type and not my favorites, purely for entertainment, and I think it's not ironic that when I finally put in effort, I actually win. So, and now all of our co-hosts have won.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes, I love that you won by 2 and I almost got in last place, like last place by 2. That's awesome.
I love it.
But that is our Survivor draft.
Before we end this season, one more meme, guys, for the road.
Zoe!
Whoop whoop.
I'm
right.
so
Emily, do you want to start?
I would love to start.
And while everyone's pulling it up, because I know we usually cut for a bit, I never edited last week because in my head I thought Emily was. I should edit.
Oh. I can do this. Oh, well, this one will be just a little bit later, but I can do it when I come back from vacation. If you want me to do this one.
Sure, maybe. I'll edit whatever happens tomorrow. I will edit the last one and post that.
Okay. I'm fine with whatever. You just let me know.
Cool. I was just being dumb. All
You're
right.
not.
I'm ready.
All right. My meme of the week has nothing to do with the winner, and it has nothing to do with the other 2 men that were sitting next to her. It has to do with Suri. It says, the way every member of Suri's Wizard of Oz repeated their own history, ... And it's of this. I don't know what this is from.
Breaking Bad.
Yes, I still have yet to see that, but it's just a bunch of disaster and mess. And it's very true.
I can go next because I have the winner, my winner. And it's Aubrey trying to find her car, and it's just running.
Lois Griffin running.
I love that.
And I think something we didn't talk about a lot this episode, but have a bunch this season, is the confessional edit and the disparaging edit. And I wanted to show the person who got the most confessionals of the season with a little bit about the Rizzo moment. And it's Jeff after spoiling the boot order on national TV. And it's Christian saying, oh.
Oh.
I don't even know what's happening.
I love that he wears that shirt like literally everywhere. How many versions of that shirt?
He wears it everywhere because he sells them, but all of the proceeds go to charity.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
so
like a little
sweet.
marketing thing, which is really
I
cute.
didn't know that. That's awesome.
It is. Well,
That's pretty awesome.
thank you guys so much for listening to this season of Survivor. We'll be back next season, all right, and hope to have a few more special guests throughout the season. And thank you all for joining us on this ride. And congratulations yet again to Abby.
Woo! And Aubrey.
And Aubrey. Yeah. Aubrey too, I guess. Well, you know what? Aubrey has her $2 million. Let me congratulate Abby on her bragging rights.
What's more important, guys? $2 million in a car, the Surviving Survivor 50 draft. We'll have to ask Aubrey herself.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, thank y'all. We'll see you soon.
Enjoy your summer. See you in the fall.